Cruise lines will quietly hand back over $1,200 in free upgrades on a single 7-day sailing, and most passengers over 65 never ask for a single one of them. There is an entire system of unadvertised perks sitting behind the guest services desk, and it only opens up once you know the right words to say. If you are traveling on a fixed income, every one of these matters, because the difference between the passenger who knows and the passenger who doesn't can be hundreds of dollars by the time you walk back down the gangway. I spent 20 years working aboard cruise ships, in guest services, in the dining rooms, and on the crew decks where these decisions actually get made, and I watched thousands of passengers walk right past perks that were sitting there for the taking. Stick around, because upgrade number 9 is one that even seasoned cruisers rarely hear about, and it involves a fee most of your onboard account is quietly built to collect. Let us get into it. Before I begin, I want to say something personal. Most people watching this are planning a cruise for themselves, or for someone they love. Maybe it's a retirement trip. Maybe it's an anniversary. Maybe it's the trip you've been saving for years. I made this channel for exactly that person, because nobody should spend their dream vacation dealing with problems that could have been prevented. If that's why you're here, hit subscribe right now. Because every single week, I put out information that protects your money, your health, and your experience on that ship, and I would hate for you to miss it before your sailing date. Upgrade number 1 starts the moment you step up to check-in, and it is your stateroom category itself. Cruise lines routinely hold back a small block of higher category cabins to fill last-minute gaps, and if a ship is not sailing full, the check-in desk has the authority to move you into one of those cabins at no extra charge, but only if you ask politely and only if you ask before your keycard is printed. Once you are checked in, that window closes for the entire voyage. The psychology here works against you by design, because the desk agent is trained to process you quickly, not to volunteer availability, so silence on your part reads as satisfaction with your assigned cabin. A 71-year-old from Tampa, Florida, asked a simple question at check-in and was moved from an inside cabin to an ocean view balcony. The total cost to her, $0. A passenger who says nothing pays full price for the inside cabin, roughly $600 for the week, while the passenger who asks pays the exact same amount and sails with a balcony. Here is what you do. Arrive at check-in with your documents ready and your tone warm. Ask directly whether any complimentary cabin upgrades are available today. The exact words to say are, "I know availability changes ship to ship, but is there any chance of a complimentary upgrade for us today?" But this next one hits closer to home than you think. Upgrade number 2 is priority boarding on embarkation day, and the shocking reality is that most senior travelers stand in the general line for over an hour simply because nobody told them a shorter line exists. Cruise lines maintain a priority boarding lane for guests who need additional time or assistance, and it is available to any passenger who requests it, not only those using mobility devices. The mechanism is simple. Standing passengers for long periods on a hot pier is a liability the cruise line would rather avoid, so the option exists quietly, without a sign pointing to it. The psychology exploited here is politeness. Many seniors do not want to seem like they are asking for special treatment, so they never request it, and the line stays exactly as long as it was. A 68-year-old from Bristol, United Kingdom, requested priority boarding and was seated and sipping a drink 40 minutes before her friends reached the gangway. The total cost, $0, and 40 minutes of standing avoided. A passenger who stands in the general line loses that time and often arrives at their cabin tired before the trip even starts. Here is what you do. Approach the porter or the check-in staff and simply state your request. The exact words to say are, "Could we use the priority boarding line today, please?" Now here is where most people get completely blindsided. Upgrade number 3 is your daily automatic gratuity charge, and the reality most passengers never learn is that this charge is adjustable, not fixed, despite how it is presented on your invoice. Cruise lines apply gratuities automatically to every onboard account because the vast majority of passengers never question a line item they assume is mandatory. The business logic is straightforward. An automatic charge collected without friction is more reliable revenue for crew payroll than a voluntary tip passengers might forget or reduce. The psychology at work is the illusion of a fixed bill. Once a charge appears printed on your folio, it feels official and unchangeable, even though guest services can modify it on request. A 74-year-old from Lyon, France, discovered this on the fourth day of a cruise and had her gratuities reduced to reflect a service issue in the dining room, saving $84 over the remainder of the voyage. A passenger who accepts the charge without question pays the full amount, often around $140 per person per week, while an informed passenger who has a genuine concern can request an adjustment and pay accordingly. Here is what you do. Visit guest services directly rather than raising it in the dining room. Explain your situation calmly and specifically. The exact words to say are, "I would like to review our gratuity charges for the week, please." What comes next is the one that former insiders told me they were most uncomfortable sharing. Quick pause here. If you are realizing how much of this you did not know before today, do me a favor and hit that like button right now. It takes 1 second and it helps get this information in front of other people who need to see it before their next sailing. Now, the next 3 secrets are the ones that took the most convincing to get former insiders to talk about. Let us keep going. Upgrade number 4 is a complimentary specialty dining voucher, and cruise lines hold back a small reserve of these vouchers specifically for guests who mention a special occasion or a loyalty milestone. The mechanism is retention, not generosity. A specialty restaurant seat costs the cruise line very little in incremental expense once the ship is already sailing at capacity, so offering it for free buys enormous goodwill at almost no cost to them. The psychology exploited is that passengers assume anything not listed on their cruise documents must be paid, so they never ask. A 66-year-old from Halifax, Canada, mentioned her 40th wedding anniversary at guest services and received a complimentary dinner for 2 at the ship's steakhouse, a restaurant that normally charges $45 per person. Upgrade number 5 is free laundry, offered to loyalty members and sometimes to first-time cruisers who ask directly during a slower sailing week, saving roughly $30 per load compared to the standard onboard laundry price. Upgrade number 6 is a drink package upgrade at no additional charge, extended most often to passengers who politely raise a minor service delay, and it can be worth over $200 across a 7-day sailing. Here is what you do for all 3. Visit guest services directly, mention the specific occasion, loyalty tier, or minor issue involved, and ask plainly rather than hinting. The exact words to say are, "Is there anything complimentary available for this occasion, or for the inconvenience we experienced?" Think that is bad? Wait until you hear what comes next. Upgrade number 7 is priority tender boarding, reserved for port days when the ship anchors offshore and passengers ride small boats to shore. Cruise lines set aside expedited tender tickets for senior guests and suite guests, and requesting one can save well over an hour of waiting in a crowded lounge. The psychology at play is that tender tickets are handed out on a first-come basis by default, so passengers assume the wait is unavoidable when a faster lane exists simply for asking. Upgrade number 8 is complimentary spa access on port days, when the spa sits mostly empty because most passengers are ashore. A 70-year-old from Munich, Germany, was offered a free hour in the thermal suite, normally priced near $60, simply because she inquired about slow period availability. Here is what you do. Ask the guest services desk about tender priority the evening before a port day, and ask the spa desk directly about port day availability. The exact words to say are, "Do you have any complimentary access available since it is a port day?" But this next one hits closer to home than you think. Upgrade number 9 is your Wi-Fi package fee, one of the highest margin charges on the entire ship, and cruise lines will waive it for loyalty members or passengers who raise a connectivity complaint, because losing that one passenger's $20 a day costs them far less than losing a 5-star review. Upgrade number 10 is a silent onboard credit adjustment, applied when a passenger calmly documents a genuine service shortfall, and it can return well over $100 directly to your account by the final night. A 69-year-old from Manchester, United Kingdom, raised a documented cabin maintenance delay and received a $120 credit before disembarkation, while a passenger who says nothing about the same issue receives nothing at all. Here is what you do. Keep a simple mental note of any issue during your cruise, visit guest services before the final night, and describe it factually and without anger. The exact words to say are, "I wanted to mention this issue calmly, and ask if anything can be done to make it right." You now know 10 specific words and actions that most passengers your age will never use on their own sailing, and that knowledge alone is worth more than any coupon a travel agent could hand you. You are no longer just a passenger counting down the days until boarding. You are a guest who understands exactly how the system behind the counter works, and who knows precisely when and how to ask. There are two kinds of cruisers on every ship: the ones who accept whatever appears on their invoice, and the ones who quietly walk away with hundreds of dollars in value simply because they asked a calm, specific question at the right desk. What you carry off this ship next time will not just be memories, it will be real savings you claimed for yourself. If you want to know exactly which loyalty tier unlocks the biggest of these perks automatically, and how close you might already be to it, that is exactly what we are covering in the next video, so you do not miss the tier that changes everything. You just spent the last few minutes protecting the vacation you worked your whole life to take. That matters to me more than I can explain. This channel exists for one type of person: someone who refuses to let a dream trip turn into a nightmare because of things nobody told them. If that's you, subscribe now. Because next week I'm covering something that every cruise passenger needs to know before they ever book a single excursion, and it could save you hundreds of dollars. You've already invested this time. Don't let the next video be the one you wish you had seen. Subscribe, and I'll make sure you're always one step ahead, on every sailing, for the rest of your life.